You don't feel rested when you wake up. You don't feel present when you work. You don't even feel alive when you win. That's not stress. That's burnout. And it's eating you from the inside out. And the worst part? No one sees it. Because you still show up. You still smile. You still perform. But inside, you're bleeding in silence. This video is not about escaping the pressure. It's about facing it like Epictetus would, with calm precision and ruthless clarity. Because if you don't learn how to hold the line, you'll lose yourself trying to please the world. You've heard the word 100 times, burnout, but what if you've been looking at it through the wrong lens? Burnout isn't just physical exhaustion. It's not solved with a weekend off or a longer night's sleep, because it doesn't start in your body. It starts in your mind, specifically in the tension between expectation and reality. You burn out when your output becomes disconnected from your purpose, when you do more, but it means less, when you chase results, but feel no alignment, when your schedule is full, but your soul is starving. And that's why most solutions don't work, because they treat the symptom, fatigue, but not the cause, inner dissonance. Burnout is your system's way of saying you're off track. Not lazy, not broken, just lost in a rhythm that no longer honors who you are. Now here's where Epictetus steps in. He didn't live in a world of smartphones, deadlines, or KPIs, but he understood something deeper. That suffering doesn't come from effort. It comes from misdirected effort. He said, men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of things. That's the Stoic doorway. Because if burnout is born from the way you see your life, then clarity can be your way out. Let's get practical. Take a moment and look at your current demands, your job, your responsibilities, the people who expect things from you. Are you tired because of how much you do, or because of what you believe you must do? There's a difference. One drains your energy. The other drains your identity. Most men fall into a trap. They confuse responsibility with slavery. They carry invisible scripts. I can't slow down. If I say no, I'll look weak. If I stop, everything falls apart. But who wrote those rules? Who told you your worth depends on relentless performance? Not Epictetus. He taught the opposite, that your power comes not from control, but from alignment. Not from saying yes to everything, but from knowing what to say no to. So here's your first tool, the inner audit. Ask yourself, what am I doing right now that costs me more than it gives me? What am I chasing that I no longer believe in? And what am I afraid would happen if I just stopped? Burnout is not a weakness, it's an alarm, a warning that your actions have outpaced your essence. The answer isn't to retreat, it's to realign, to stop pouring water into broken buckets, to direct your strength where it actually matters. That's what Epictetus would do. He would remove the noise, cut the illusions, and return to the only question that matters. Is this within my command or not? And if it's not, he'd drop it without guilt, without drama, without fear, because a man who understands what drains him has already begun to recover his strength. Silent challenge. Today, choose one demand you've been carrying out of fear, not clarity, and set it down. even just for a moment. Let your nervous system feel what it's like to no longer obey everything. Burnout doesn't always come from doing too little. It often comes from trying to control too much. Look around. Most men are at war with reality, trying to bend it, fix it, dominate it. They want control over outcomes, over people's opinions, over the future. But control misunderstood is a heavy curse, and it's one of the core engines of burnout. Epictetus made one thing crystal clear. Some things are up to us, some things are not. That's it. That's the fork in the road. But we ignore this truth. We fight what we cannot influence. We waste strength trying to manage things that will never obey us, other people's moods, the market, time, past mistakes, future fears. And every time we do that, something inside us tightens. The mind speeds up, the breath shortens, the nervous system spikes. This is how burnout brews silently, and not just from effort, but from illusion. You were not designed to carry the infinite. You were designed to command the internal. There's a story of a Stoic in ancient Rome. He lost his possessions in a fire. Someone asked if he was angry, broken, or afraid. He said, no, because what was burned was never truly mine. That's the posture of command, not indifference, but precision. Let's bring this to now. Look at your day. How much of your energy is being drained by things outside your control? Trying to convince someone who won't, change, worrying about something that hasn't happened, fighting for outcomes you cannot force. This isn't strategy, it's emotional hemorrhage. And here's the paradox. The more you release what's not yours, the more power you gain over what is. You start to move differently, with calm, with direction, without noise. This is the Stoic filter. The question Epictetus would ask every time he faced tension, is this up to me? And if the answer was no, he'd cut it. Not from apathy, but from intelligence. Because clarity isn't just peace, it's leverage. Imagine starting your day by asking, what will I command today? And what will I release? Now think about this. How many times have you said yes out of guilt? How many times have you kept chasing something because you thought quitting would make you a failure? That's not strength. That's fear wearing the mask of ambition. Real strength is this: choosing what's yours, letting go of what isn't. Without apology. Epictetus didn't teach you to shrink, he taught you to sharpen. So here's the next shift. Stop being a general in battles that aren't yours. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to predict every outcome. You don't need to fix what others refuse to face. Your job is not to carry the world. Your job is to carry yourself, well, wisely and with unwavering presence. Silent challenge. Write down 3 things that have been consuming your energy this week, and circle the one you have 0 control over. Now, for 24 hours, practice letting it go every time it comes to mind, not by force, but by returning to the truth. This is not mine to carry. Burnout doesn't just come from doing too much. It comes from doing without center. The modern man lives in noise, deadlines, conflicts, inboxes, alarms. Pressure comes from every direction. But here's the truth. Chaos doesn't break you. Disconnection does. There are men who walk through hell and stay composed, not because they feel nothing, but because they operate from an inner command post. Stillness in the middle of movement. That's the Stoic advantage. Epictetus was born a slave. He had no wealth, no status, no external power. But he walked like a man who could not be shaken. Why? Because he understood this. No man is free who is not master of himself. That's the code. The Stoic doesn't seek control of the world. He seeks control of his response. He doesn't beg for calm. He builds it inside, like armor. So how do you move like that in modern life? First, stop outsourcing your rhythm. If your mind reacts to every ping, every message, every shift, you're a leaf in the wind. You can't lead yourself, much less anything else. The Stoic operates differently. He enters each situation with intention, not impulse. That might look like this: pausing before you speak in a tense meeting, not replying instantly to a message that triggers you, taking a breath before entering your home after a brutal day. These aren't small gestures, they're acts of power. Presence isn't passivity, it's precision, and in a chaotic world, precision is dominance. Let's get tactical. Choose one anchor for your day, something that keeps you rooted. It could be a phrase, a breath routine, a question like, what is truly required of me right now? Repetition builds identity. Your nervous system starts to recognize calm as your default, not because chaos stopped, but because you did. And this is key. The Stoic doesn't wait for ideal conditions. He trains in the fire. When your phone explodes with problems, pause. When someone disrespects you, breathe before you choose your response. When the plan fails, return to what you can do next, instead of spiraling. This isn't spiritual fluff. It's tactical clarity, because the world rewards those who stay functional when others fall apart. There's a quote that isn't from Epictetus, but he would have nodded in agreement. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity, but only for those who don't flinch, who don't run, who stay still long enough to see clearly. Burnout often comes from this. You've stopped feeling your life. You're surviving it, but stillness reintroduces you to choice. And from choice comes power. Silent challenge. Pick one moment of chaos today, and instead of reacting, anchor yourself. Use your phrase, your breath, your question, and watch. What happens when you move through the storm without becoming it? Burnout isn't just about doing too much. It's about doing without alignment. You can be productive and still feel hollow. You can succeed and feel like you're losing yourself, because the real fuel of a man's endurance is not caffeine, sleep, or even motivation. It's alignment. Epictetus didn't have a Google Calendar, but he had a code, a rhythm guided by what was essential, not by what was urgent. He asked, what is truly mine to act upon? What is truly worth my time, my thought, my strength? Ask yourself, when was the last time you looked at your schedule and saw your values reflected in it? Most men are drowning in busyness, not because they lack energy, but because they lack clarity. You're overbooked, not by demand, but by default. You say yes to everything because you've forgotten how to filter. You chase outcomes because you've forgotten how to pause. But the Stoic doesn't move on autopilot. He moves with weight, with precision, with chosen rhythm. Here's the shift. Instead of managing time, manage meaning. Time is limited, but meaning is selective, and not everything deserves your presence. Start simple. Each morning ask, what one thing would make today aligned, not just productive? Then make that your North Star. Guard it, protect it, move around it. Now zoom out. Look at your commitments, look at your routines. How many of them are yours? How many are echoes of other people's agendas? How many are relics of who you used to be, but no longer are? Epictetus would say, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. That's alignment, not abstract, practical. Who do you want to be in this season of your life? What traits, what disciplines, what presence? Now, what must be pruned for that to emerge? Clarity is costly. It demands decisions. You might disappoint others. You might feel resistance. But the reward is this: you get your life back, and with it, your command. Because a man who walks in rhythm can endure storms without becoming chaotic inside. Burnout cannot thrive in a man who knows what to serve and what to ignore. So here's your practice. Rebuild your rhythm, not overnight, but one honest choice at a time. Say no to what dilutes you. Say yes to what aligns you. Not because it's easy, but because you remember who you're becoming. Silent challenge. Tonight, look at tomorrow's schedule. Remove one thing that doesn't align with who you want to be. Replace it with one action that restores your center, even if it lasts 10 minutes, because rhythm isn't built in big moves. It's built in quiet repetitions. Burnout isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you've been fighting without direction, that you've been pouring energy into what doesn't return purpose, that you've tried to hold what was never yours to carry, but today something shifted. You saw how Epictetus would face the pressure, not by escaping it, but by sharpening his presence inside it. He wouldn't collapse. He wouldn't over-explain. He'd observe, cut the noise, and act with calm force. That's what you're being called to now. Not to endure life, but to command it from within. And that clarity, it doesn't scream, it doesn't rush, it moves. Like a man who knows where he stands. If this video hits something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who's carrying too much in silence, and subscribe for more tools like this, because strength begins where noise ends, and we're just getting started.